Alright, this is just a little video on reading the micrometer. In welding, we're going to be practicing. You might have some homework assignments where you've got to interpret the numbers and then add them all up to determine what the opening measurement is. And so just wanted to go through a little tutorial here. Anyway, there are 4 numbers that we're going to be looking at, and each number you're going to write down, and then you'll be adding up those numbers to get your dimension. The other thing is we're working with decimals, and with this micrometer we're going to go out to 10 thousandths, so that's 4 decimal places. And the thing with adding decimals, you want to remember to line up your decimal points and then add them up, and then you should be okay. So let's look at this. I'll go through a problem just so you get the hang of what we're doing. And of course, like I said earlier, we're going to do some more of this in class. The first number that you're going to look at is or are these numbers here, down here. Now we've got 0, 1, 2. These all represent tenths, and it's 1/10 of an inch. So the opening here, the largest opening is going to be an inch, and most likely in this case, in fact, it's less than an inch. It looks like it's 2/10 of an inch and a little more, but that's what that first number represents. We've got 2/10. Okay, so we would write 0.2, and you could write it knowing you're going to go out 4 decimal places. You could just add some zeros. Okay. Now the second number that we want to identify is the little tick marks. So we want to look at the tick mark that we can see past the 2, if any. Now first note how many tick marks there are in between each tenth. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3. Each tick mark is going to represent the space preceding it. So this tick mark represents the first 25 thousandths. This is 50 thousandths, and this is 75 thousandths. Okay, so the first is 25 thousandths, second is 50 thousandths, the third is 75 thousandths. Now notice in this case we can see the first one, that would be 25 thousandths, and you can kind of see a sliver of the second one. Now you might be thinking, well, I see the second one, so I'm going to write 50 thousandths. But if it's really close and you're not sure, you want to look over here. And if this, so let's just look over here real quick. Notice we've got 0 up here, and it's going to go around in this direction. Okay, so it's going around, and it's going to come, it's 21, 22, 23, 24. The 0 would mark the 25th, and then it would move on back to 1, and so on. Because the lines that line up to this horizontal line here, because it's below the 0, we're approaching 0. We're not quite at the full rotation. So because of that, I'm not going to count that second line. Okay, instead I'm going to count just the first line, which is 25 thousandths. And I'm going to add a 0. Okay, now the third number is related to this line, this horizontal line. Now if this line matches with a line here, then we're going to choose that line. But notice it does not. Okay, in fact, it's just slightly, well, it's almost, it's probably in the middle of this one and the next one, and it's hard to see with the lighting here. Let me see if I can tilt this a little bit. There we go. Okay, so it's kind of in between this one and that one. Now what I want to do is choose the line underneath. Okay, so I'm going to choose this line here, And so I'm going to count, this is 20, 21, 22, 23. Again, that represents thousandths. So I'm going to write that underneath, 0.2 or 0, 2, 3, and then I'll add another 0. Now the very last line, we're fine-tuning. This is going to be in 10 thousandths. And again, I know the lighting is poor, I'm going to have to tilt. But basically, we're going to look for a line that best matches with lines over here. And I don't know if we can see this, number 5. It's hard to see. Let's see. From your angle, it might look like 6. From my angle, it looks like the 5 is the best. And so that 5 is actually 5 10,000ths. So that's 0.0005. So we're going to put that number down here. And we're going to add them up. And include the decimal. And that's what this opening represents, is 2,485 10,000ths of an inch. Like I said, we're going to do more examples in class, but I just wanted to give you a little video in case you have one at home you can play around with. And it's kind of neat when you understand how to do it.